So Jesse Edwards, and you were a radio apprentice with BBC Cymru Wales. So yeah, as Julie Andrews says, start at the very beginning. Very good place to start. And I'm not going to sing, not now.
Right.
Anyway.
Sound of music.
I'll do that later. First time we met you as Sgil Cymru, now we met you in Enfys in one of our big workshops, didn't we? When the first time you applied for an apprenticeship. So I'm taking you right to the very beginning now. Cast your mind back. Little
you want
Jessie,
me to go all the way back there?
Yeah, little Jessie with a mop of hair.
Right.
Yeah, that was doing what? Kind of the occasional stint in community radio. Yeah?
Community radio here, up here in the valleys, yeah.
Yeah, in Ebbw Vale?
Ebbw Vale, no, I was over in, technically Ebbw Vale, Bramawr Radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what were you doing? Just tell me roughly what you were doing there.
Oh, well, I started there in 2015. And I first started off on a sports show. I had no idea about sport. It was just the only slot they had available. So I thought, yep, jump in there. Gotta get in while you can.
Yeah.
And basically, I was just a little assistant in the corner reading out the football scores whenever they would come in. And from there then.
So that was on a Saturday then you'd be doing that, would you?
Saturday afternoon, 2 till 5.
Yeah, because you had a different day job. Because this is the other thing that's interesting to people, I think, is that people don't realise that you can come into this industry from anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah, so, I had quite a few jobs within 1 year.
Yeah.
I had up to 5 jobs. I was a shop assistant, a driver's mate. I kept up the volunteering on the side. And then I started working in a factory then, long term, Monday to Friday. Started off plastic injection molding, basically just making plastic chairs. I love going into detail with that, but I'll spare all the pain of it. After that then, I went on to welding, which was shift work. So sometimes I'll be up all night. First time I ever pulled an all-nighter was working in a factory. So I was on nights constantly for 6 months. And then from there then, I managed to get lucky, get my way onto days and afternoons.
Yeah.
And I was welding when I applied for the apprenticeship, which I got.
Yeah. So then what made you think in the middle of all this was what fascinates me really is, people, and I was exactly the same a long time ago, people who were not from a family that is known for any media work, or, you haven't got an auntie that works in the BBC, for instance, it's not that kind of thing. You come from an area that's not known for recruiting. Or it's not where traditionally road shows and stuff go to particularly. What made you think, I really want to work in any kind of radio, I suppose, any kind of capacity?
Well, I first came across radio by accident. I was in comprehensive school and they make you pick work experience. I wanted to go and work in a video game shop.
Okay.
But because of they didn't want me to go and work there. So they offered me either to go to a photography place or a radio station for 2 weeks. So I thought, I'll pop along to the radio station. That was the one which I came back a few years later to volunteering constantly. And I spent 2 weeks there and I loved it. And they would show me around and I was like, this is actually quite nice. Didn't feel like it was working at all. It was just fun.
Yeah.
And I still feel like that today.
Yeah. And that's what's great about, I think, our jobs, isn't it? If you're having fun while you work, it's not a job, is it? It's
exactly.
It feels like your hobby, basically. So then a year later then, after we met you, and this is the other thing that's good as well, the other people who are trying for apprenticeships can understand that sometimes you don't get the apprenticeship that you applied for the first time round. You may have to try twice or 3 times, for some people 3 or 4 times. We've got a young man now, for instance, who's on our CRIW apprenticeship. He's applied, I think he's had his apprenticeship on the 4th time of trying, and there's no shame at all in that.
No,
it depends on, you fit better at different times, I think, and the job fits you better. Because was it a radio apprenticeship that you applied for right at the very beginning? The first
right
one?
At the very beginning.
It was, yeah.
I applied for journalism, ITV.
Okay. Yeah.
That's when I came into Ebbw Studios.
Yeah, so that's interesting, isn't it? So then the second time round, it was a radio apprenticeship.
Second time around, I went to the BBC.
Yeah.
And the one good thing about the apprenticeships here in Wales is that we could specify where we wanted to go.
Yeah.
Because in other regions, other nations, they're like, right, you'll have 3 months here, 3 months there.
Yeah.
But I picked radio and I got my first choice.
Yeah.
I was really happy.
And there you were, Radio Wales, straight away.
Radio Wales.
Talking to the public from kind of day one.
Yeah. Just one of my earliest memories, one of my favorite ones was getting an old man, talking to him on the phone. And I was like, oh, do you fancy coming on for a chat? And you could just hear the excitement in his voice as he was, I don't know where he was going. He's running across his landing, I think, to tell his wife to be quiet because he was going to be on the radio.
Oh, bless
and
him.
That's one of my favorite memories. Yeah.
Yeah, that you can make people stars, basically. Yeah.
And that was right from the beginning, so that was a good start, really.
Yeah. But you're very, very good at talking to people, aren't you, Jesse? You know, you're good. You've got a nice personality, and you're good at putting people at their ease. I think you've always been one of those people that can talk to anybody.
Well, I try to, yeah.
Tell me the programmes you first went to work in Radio Wales. Yes.
Yeah, I started on Radio Wales.
Yeah.
The programme I started on was the Wyn Evans show, which is between 11 and 2 in the afternoon. And on that show, basically, is just, you know, the public of the stars. The motto of the show is to try and make Wales smile by 2 o'clock, which I love trying to do that. It's really nice.
Yeah, I like that as well. And, you know, Wyn is funny anyway, isn't he? You know, and he's quite an engaging personality, isn't he?
Yeah, we get phone calls all the time. People love Wyn. All they ever want to talk about is Wyn because he is one of the biggest stars in Radio Wales, if we're being honest.
Yeah,
you know, the listeners love him.
So at the very beginning then, what was your job there?
I started off as a researcher.
I seem to remember, hang on a minute now, Doug, but see if I'm right. I seem to remember that you used to go in early and read newspapers and see if there were any interesting stories from the local newspapers. Am I right?
I forgot about that. Yeah, I used to go in with my little pair of scissors, used to go through all the newspapers. If I could find any quirky stories, cut them out, and then glue them to a piece of paper to take into the meeting. We had like an hour every morning to do that. And it was.
And then they'd discuss whether it was worth following up on those stories.
Yeah, we discussed whether they would be a good throw to like throw a question out to the public to answer, or if they'd just be a quick story in case we need to fill a segment or something. And yeah, I forgot about those really.
See, I remember because I was your assessor, so I remember that stuff. And then from there, then you used to do road shows and that kind of stuff as well. Did you not? Did you?
No, I never went out in the public. I went once or twice out to the Royal Welsh.
Okay.
And one of the rugby games, but that was a popular thing. I only did it once or twice.
Okay. So you kind of your usual day job during the apprenticeship then?
Usual day job. Basically, I start in the morning, go through the newspapers, like we said. Then we go into the daily meeting. I used to love the daily meeting because that's a good chance for everyone just to chat, catch up, have a good laugh. And after the meeting then, we'd have to basically follow up on what we mentioned, phone people, brief, like if we got guests coming on from the Mystery Voice, just phone them up, see if they're still happy to chat, what are they up to today, what are they having for lunch, just ask them all questions like that, stuff we can talk about on air. And then at 11 o'clock, we used to go on air. I'd be sat there waiting on my phone, waiting for all the lines to light up, and they often do. We have five answering machines we can pick up at the time, and most of the time, all 5 of them are just glowing. You have to keep answering, like, hello.
So that's people, the public coming in then, wanting to talk to in and wanting to say something on the air. Was that what that would be?
People calling us up. Sometimes it's something completely random they want to tell us. Sometimes is actually relevant to the show. We look for the most interesting, quirky people to come on and have a chat. And the amount of interesting people we got across Wales is unbelievable. You learn so much about people just picking up the phones, and you start to learn who they are and who the regulars are.
I was about to say that. So you've got regulars that probably know you know them by now.
Yeah, well, they've given me loads of names over the years. I've been Jeffrey, I've been Javid, I've been like, who's this? Jesse. Oh yeah, Jeffrey. Oh yeah. Yeah, but it's quite nice. I never met these people, just talked to them on the phone.
Yeah.
And you can build up sort of
Yeah,
relationships
a
with people.
rapport. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
get that.
brilliant. Mm.
So did you stay? You didn't stay just with Wyn, did you? I know you stayed with Radio Wales, but you didn't
Stayed with
stay just
Radio
with Wyn.
Wales.
You shifted across a couple
I
of
moved over
places.
to the phone-in program, which that was the really early start. That was like 6 o'clock starts. For that program, we come in first thing in the morning, see what's the headlines in the news, see what's worth talking about, and then we have a meeting. Then, you know, same old process. At the meeting, everyone discusses what they think would fly the best, and then I'd be ringing up people from 7:30. You know, some people didn't like me calling them at that time, but the journalists, they expect it, you know, because that's their job. If they miss the phone call, they miss money. Yeah, but yeah, that was a
and was
quite an
that slightly
experience.
different then, that you were talking to professional people, if you like, rather than the public? Was it a different kind of process?
Yeah, sort of, because sometimes they'd want someone who goes on a commute every day, but those, even though they're the most popular ones, would be the hardest to find, because like everybody commutes, everyone's a mother, everyone's a parent or whatever. So how can you choose who's the best person to speak to?
Yeah.
And then other times then we'd go for the professionals, like sports journalists or traffic experts. Yeah, so it's quite a variety there as well. We usually had to book 3 guests each first thing in the morning. So we'd have the expert, we'd have the everyday person, and the third one then would be, it'd vary every day depending on what the story was, really.
Yeah. I know something, and this is something that strikes quite a few people actually, because there's no guarantee of a job at the end of your apprenticeship, whenever you get your apprenticeship. So you've got 12 months that you're working and you're doing a good job, you're getting great feedback, but you're not being offered a contract and you're not being offered a job. And I can remember you and I having a chat in that massive room in Pinewood, actually, in a corner, because you were having a bit of a crisis. You weren't sure whether it was the career for you, whether you were going to have to go back to welding after doing your 12 months or whatever. And I think as well, when you were in a cohort of, I think there were 20 people. Some people were much more gregarious, shall I say, than you were, and you were sitting in the corner diligently doing what you were doing and doing it very well. And you were convinced that maybe that was not the way for it to work, but obviously it has worked out because you're still there, and we'll get to that in a bit. Can you share a little bit about how you felt in that time and how you got out of it?
Yeah, of course.
Sorry, it's a long question, but you get what I'm saying.
I know what you mean. Well, so during my apprenticeship, I quickly realized that I'm not really the loudest person in the room. So I'm not the first person people usually see. So when I first went into work, I'd sit at my computer, you know, just blinkers on, do the work, get it done, you know, make it look like you're working constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in Radio Wales with Connor, and poor Connor, every time he walked past me, I just ignore him and like, don't make it look like we're talking. You know, I'm working, trust me. Yeah, so I quickly realized that, first of all, I had to relax a bit. You know, it's not 100 miles per hour constantly. The people around you are the ones who are going to help you along the way. So like talk to your neighbors, talk to whoever's in the office, because for all I know, they could be giving me 2 weeks work in the next month or so.
Yeah.
Really. So during the apprenticeship, I saw these characters and I was thinking, oh, right, okay, they are, I don't want to say getting the attention, but you walk into the room, they're the first person you see. So from a freelance point of view, you see them first, they're the first person that cross your mind. So, oh, I need someone. Oh, so-and-so's over there. And maybe if I'm sat quietly in the corner, you know, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
That was playing on my mind quite a bit during the apprenticeship. I got to a point where I was thinking, I need to talk to people. And then I just couldn't do it for a little time. As strange as it sounds.
But sorry to cross you there.
Oh yeah.
I think what the apprenticeship does is give you the time to work that out, maybe.
Yeah. this is just doing the apprenticeship, doing the early phases, really.
Yeah.
Learning where you stand and how to deal with these situations.
Yeah.
Because as the apprenticeship goes on, you have the safety blanket of an entire year. You have such a, what's the word for it? Like you guys at Sgil Cymru, you guys, we can come to you if we need any help. I have my mentors in the BBC who I could go to if I had any questions. You have such a backing behind you, which can help you get through these tough times, because you don't mind me saying, but you've had years and years of experience. So if I've only been doing it for a year, if I have any issues, you've probably had them 5 times over.
And more, 45 times over.
I didn't want to say that high.
Yeah, but that's true. And I think that's the nice thing about the apprenticeship. You know, when I trained, it was similar actually, but it was 9 months on the job training. And the interesting thing with us as well is that, and people think that this was a nasty thing that people did, but we weren't even given credits during our training. And that was to protect you. So if you made any mistakes, it wasn't your mistake. It was the person that was training you that was doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So it was all about cocooning you and making sure that you were okay until you came out of training, basically. So because I learned in that way, I try and make sure that we do the same thing with you.
Yeah.
Really. That's the idea. And I think it's also, you were telling me earlier on that when you come across somebody else that was in the Sgil Cymru with you, that you get quite excited because you haven't seen each other for a while. Hope you're still wearing your t-shirt, by the way.
Oh yeah, still got my t-shirts in the drawer just below there somewhere.
It should be on you, shouldn't they?
I thought I'd wear a nice shirt for today. I haven't seen you in a while, so.
Fair play to you.
Yeah, no, because, it's like a tree, the apprenticeship. We've all gone into different branches, we've all gone different directions. So when we do walk across each other in this massive organization, I think it's worthy of getting excited.
Yeah, I agree with you. And not just within the organisation, within the industry, within the screen industries, you're going to come across yourself, each other in different places, aren't you, I think? So bring us up to date now to where Jessie is now then. Where are you out of the apprenticeship? 3rd year? Is it 3 years out?
We finished the apprenticeship in 2019. 3 years sounds a long time, but I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah, but so much has happened in the last 18 months that, the last 18 months probably feels like at least 2 or 3 years, doesn't it? Because so much has happened and it feels as if it's gone so quickly. But again, we were talking earlier on, and what's great is that you've worked right through the pandemic, sometimes at home, sometimes not. So tell us where you are now then. You're still Radio Wales?
I'm still with Radio Wales. I'm going to be with Radio Wales so far up till September, but I have faith that maybe there'll be more work after that as well, because I get on great with the managers. The work is I'm used to it now, and throughout the pandemic, I was lucky as a freelancer. Quite a few faces were disappearing because they wanted skeleton crews in, obviously, but I was lucky because I still continued weekly, coming in every day, just doing my little job. And right now, I've also expanded into other territories. So I'm not just with Radio Wales. I've also dabbled a bit with news and sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've...
So a big difference there? Or you're just adapting and they're just kind of transferable skills, I would have thought?
I have like 5 different titles, but to me, they're all the same job.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a production coordinator, broadcast assistant, content assistant, journalism coordinator, but they're all the same thing, just different hats.
So you do think that broadcast assistant to me is the person that does timings and that kind of thing when you're on the air and stuff? Does that still happen? No.
Yep, that still happens.
Yeah.
We're currently leading up to the election period. So we have politicians coming in for their interviews, and we have to give every party exactly the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So just Monday, I was, calculating times, making sure we wasn't spending too long with a certain person.
Yeah. So you do that with your BA hats on, and then if you're a content assistant, you just kind of carry it a bit further, I take it.
Content assistant, I mainly booking, say, cars out for, you know, the sports presenters, and making sure they can get their accreditations to go into, you know, the big stadiums and stuff, doing payments. You know, it's like the behind the scenes work, you know,
Yeah,
all
so
the
you
little
like
things you normally
the
think about.
PMA and telly kind of thing in BBC, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe, or a coordinator. Yeah,
So the paperwork side of
yeah,
it.
yeah. That's great though, isn't it? Because you're seeing the whole gambit of what happens right
Yeah.
through in the back there, really, which is brilliant. It's kind of taking you into the future, because it means that you've seen so many jobs. You could go all over the place if you wanted to.
Yeah, you know, it would be, the way I see it right now, I have so many paths I could go down.
Yeah,
I'm a bit spoilt for choice.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so what's the idea now? You were telling me earlier on that you're booked in the BBC until at least September, and that's where you want to be, doing a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm currently booked as freelancer in several departments up until September. I have been applying for contracts here and there, but I'm starting to think, you know, the freelancing's going quite well. So why don't I just wait it out a bit until a contract comes up, which I really want? Then I'll jump on that one once I get all this experience.
How about commercial radio? And this is me. I don't know anything much about working in radio. So does that appeal, or is it something you think, oh no, I don't fancy at all? Or moving from radio to telly? I don't know.
Commercial radio at the moment is a very difficult beast to handle, because loads of commercial radios here in Wales, they've been, what's the word, taken over by London.
Okay. Yeah.
So the jobs are few and far between. If anything, commercial are coming over to us looking for
jobs. I see what you mean. So what's happening is they run from over the border, and they don't have their own staff in Wales. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's been, I think that only happened quite recently, to be honest, because we used to have loads of great stations here in Wales, but one by one they've sort of slowly shutting down.
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy where I am.
Yeah, and you wouldn't fancy moving across to telly? Yeah, you're not fed up with radio and fancy using your skills there?
Yeah, radio is my passion. That's the first place I started. It's the place I want to stay loyal to. I've done a bit in TV. I've worked on Politics Wales, just guest coordinating and stuff. But yeah, my real passion's in radio. But in this career, you've got to stay fluid. So if TV comes up and there's a proper good job there, you can't ignore it. Yeah, it's all loads of transferable skills anyway.
Definitely, especially what you were saying to me now. I was just thinking, because there are so many coordinator type posts in telly that there's a shortage for, that you've got the skills that if ever you wanted to go that way, you're ready made.
Yeah, you know,
just come and talk to me, and I can put you in the point you in the right direction.
As always, I know what to come to.
Well, I think we can finish that, Jesse.
All right.
And good luck for the future.
Oh, thank you very much, Sue.